Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Lockdown Hot Takes. Oh my God, it's a fucking heat wave. I'm your Lodge Master. With me as always is Brother Bishki.
G'day, mate.
And Brother Lucas.
Hot, hot, hot.
Oh my God. Our guests who have been courteous enough to turn off their air conditioning, turn off their fans, and plunge into whatever the fuck this movie is. Today, our guru among gurus, Brother Justin.
Good day, mates.
And young cinematic Padawan rising the ranks, Brother Anthony is back.
That's not an introduction. That's an introduction.
The movie is the very excellent Mr. Dundee, and we will be referring to it from here on out as Crocodile Dundee IV or CD4 if you're nasty.
That's what I would like to comment first is how does, after spending a lifetime building up the brand of Crocodile Dundee, when you make like your final installment, like how do you jettison Crocodile?
Hey, who's
like,
to say this is final? Who's to say this is final?
Why would it not be a very excellent Crocodile Dundee?
So we're calling it canon then? Is that what's going on?
It's
This
so
is official.
canon.
Okay. I just want to be sure.
I ran the series. I watched the trilogy for the first time.
I did have.
Yeah, let's get into our history with the Crocodile Dundee series before. I mean, I am bursting at the seams to talk about this. I don't think we have ever watched a movie that has been more Lodgecasty than this particular film.
Ugh.
But first, I know a couple of you boys ran the series. So, Lucas, what did you see when you ran the series?
So I'm coming from a place of, I have vague memories of liking the original and not liking the sequel. And
I think that's pretty basic.
And
Anthony's shaking his head, but that's basic.
I don't even remember the third one coming out, but looking at the date, it was like a few months before 9/11.
Yep.
So of another time and era, and I'll talk about that third installment later. But for
in
now,
another podcast, Lucas gives his theory for how Crocodile Dundee III actually caused 9/11. But he's going to spare us.
I think pushing 10 caused 9/11, but that's a separate podcast.
That's yet another separate podcast.
But basically, I ran the series for the first time. I rewatched 1, 2, and 3 before the fourth. And I was shocked to discover that the original that I so fondly, vaguely remembered does not hold up. Not only is it threadbare and just flimsy, but it's very
Student
like
feature?
No, it's like very like hyper toxic masculinity, patriarchy, homophobia, transphobia. Like it's pretty bad. Like he sucker punches people in it. And it's like I'm supposed to root and cheer for this guy sucker punching people. Like, yeah, he knocks them out with one punch, but they don't know they're getting punched. You know what I mean? It's like they're talking to him and then he just sucker punches them. So it really left a bad taste in my mouth. And then the second one, instead of like having Crocodile Dundee battle poachers on his home turf of Australia, he's battling like Mexican, South American, like cocaine smuggling, like drug dealers,
cartel,
including Luis Guzman.
Yes.
And it's like so fucking racist and bad and like tone deaf. It's like, oh my God, you learned all the wrong lessons. And then by the time you get to the third one, it's like, holy shit. This should have been made 10 years earlier, like in the early 90s with Crocodile Dundee in like Los Angeles, like in the middle of like West Coast gangster rap or something.
Wow.
But for 2001, they turned it into like this Beverly Hills Cop 3 amusement park, Paramount lot set movie that makes you want to like Bishki said, throw yourself on a stick of dynamite, or watching it is like throwing yourself on a stick of dynamite.
Yeah.
So does anybody have a non-soy boy perspective of Crocs 1 through 3?
I do. As a child, loved the first one. And then when the second one came out, loved that even more. I had the cardboard cutout standee in my room as a 10-year-old.
And what did that look like?
It was the from the poster.
Sexy as fuck.
Sexy as fuck, definitely. My parents had questions about me. No, it had Croc and his knife and his hand around Linda Kozlowski's waist.
Yes.
And there was a pin on his vest that said, over 110 million at the box office. So I had a winner in my room.
I want that pin.
So I was a big fan. Croc 3.
So you were emotionally invested in Croc 2 because you spent so much time staring at that standee.
It pretty much formed my childhood and to where I am right now. Absolutely.
Right.
Croc 3, on the other hand, it came out 13 years after the second one. So
Lucky 13.
Right. So I was, I think a 23-year-old man by that point. The Crocodile franchise had long faded from my memory. But having watched it last night for the first time, fuck.
You really miss Linda Kozlowski, don't you?
She's barely in it.
You miss her.
Yeah. And again, I love how the poster for Crocodile Dundee III in Los Angeles, all that indicates that it's LA based is him wearing sunglasses. That's all.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to it.
It's kind of like the Crocodile Hunter Collision Course, his movie. I think he also came to LA and had fun in the sun with shades on.
That's how you know it's a good time.
Well, judging by this movie, even though Paul Hogan's lived in LA for a long time, he doesn't know the difference between LA and Miami because they seemed interchangeable. The score was very Miami centric.
Yeah, the score is very interesting. I thought it ran the gamut from feeling like a Sappy Werther's original commercial to like Carnival Muzak, which was kind of the Miami influence.
Yeah, it was like, this has Latin flavor. That's LA, right? It's like,
very bizarre.
Before we dive into the movie, let me just give a real quick bone rundown. 3 bones for the first one. Paul and Linda have genuine chemistry. They got married after the movie. They were married until 2014.
Whoa. Did not know that.
Crocodile Dundee II, 2 bones, more the same, but kind of fizzles out in Australia with the drug cartel. And then that's the end of the franchise. You got to end it. And then we get Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, 2001. It's a damn woof. It is a woof.
Whoa!
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
The
Shots
worst
fired.
LA Story throwaway jokes. So painful.
Do these other series runners agree that part 3 is a woof?
Yes, absolutely. But
Without question.
I can't agree with the first one being 3 bones, even though it grossed second to only Top Gun and more than Platoon in 1986 and was nominated for Best Original Screenplay. And Paul Hogan co-hosted the 59th Academy Awards with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn. So the world was like succumbed to Australian Foster's fever. But like for me, the first one's 1.5 bones, the second one's 1 bone, and the third one is definitely a woof.
So where do we go from there? Where do we go? Cut to 2020. Cut to 2020.
It's such a strange trajectory also because I can't think of another flashier flash in the pan where America loved him, embraced him, and then by the second one, it was gone, and then
it was over.
It was over. It was over pretty much as soon as it happened, as it started. So I couldn't think of a comparable career that maybe Yahoo Serious, but not even that. That doesn't even really. Yeah. That doesn't really even kind of qualify. It's very strange.
Yeah. Now this movie only exists because in 2018 they made an Australian tourism commercial, star-studded, in which they cheekily proclaimed to be making Crocodile Dundee 4. And the public's reaction was so favorable, apparently, it moved the needle enough for them to be like, you know what? Give the people what they claim to want. But sometimes it's like, the public can be having a laugh, like with Snakes on a Plane. They're like, we want Snakes on a Plane. We want you to keep that title. We want you to give us what we want. And then it comes out and they're like, huh? We're kind of done with that joke. That was a while ago, actually. Sorry. So
yeah,
here we are.
You have to make a movie within 3 months of the first meme that's created.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. And that's pretty intense. We're moving too fast as a popular culture.
Paul Hogan is 80 years old. He's older, looking way older than Biden. He is really old.
I know. What kind of creeped me out in the first 2 movies was I never noticed before until now the 20-year age difference between Paul Hogan and his co-star Linda Krasinski. And what's weird, excuse me, what's weird is they look related, like they're father-daughter. So occasionally I would be watching it and I would zone out because I was kind of high. And then before he would go his separate way, he would like give her a kiss, and I would be like, "Oh, that's right." Like they're romantic. Like whoa, like it shakes you a little bit.
It's that kind of family. Well, this movie, I was shook when I realized, holy shit, this is JCVD style meta, where he's playing Paul Hogan. He's not playing Crocodile Dundee in this. He's playing Paul motherfucking Hogan, living his life in LA. And the plot revolves around him trying to get Crocodile Dundee back on its feet, or more specifically, other people trying to get him to don the hat once more.
And I would like to summon the Salad Dragon, if I may.
Absolutely. You are right to do so.
It came early for me, and I hope you guys are on the same wavelength as me. So
it's
like
the first fucking scene.
So
it's
yeah,
the first scene.
So I'm high, I'm properly lifted. I am doing this right, and I'm watching this, and I have no expectations. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna like be
How
engaged.
How could you
with
have any expectations?
And there's a scene where in the beginning where he gets picked up at the airport, or he's like driving in the car with his daughter, and they're going down Hollywood
This isn't
Boulevard.
even what I'm imagining it was.
And it's
so
like
we have plenty of dragons.
It's this crazy process green screen driving shit that was like blowing my mind at how hallucinatory it looked. But as they're driving, they're talking about the Crocodile Dundee character, like, yeah, oh, and by the way, the Queen wants to knight you. And as they're driving, they go past the Grauman's Chinese Theater, and they go, oh, look, there's the Crocodile Dundee guy. And he's like this guy that looks nothing like Paul Hogan. He's got a little bit more weight on him. And he's like walking down the sidewalk dressed as him from the movies. And they're like, he kind of looks strung out. They're like, man, he kind of looks scary. The strung out Hollywood Boulevard version of him. And I was like, what planet, is Paul Hogan on in 2020 or 2019 where he genuinely thinks there's a fucking, Crocodile Dundee impersonator when there might be like, others, but not him.
It's like in Wes Craven's New Nightmare when they're like talking to Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy in the first one. They're like, listen, Heather, your star's bigger than ever. We need to bring this back. People are craving you.
That's also a good example of meta done right, which it rarely is, in my opinion. But I think when you're making like a half-assed skewering of Hollywood comedy, there's like a list of check boxes, right? Like you have to make fun of yoga and smoothies and the Walk of Fame and shallowness and paparazzi, and it's why
and valet parking.
It's why so many spoofs of contemporary Hollywood are so bad. Like I think the ones we enjoy are like golden era Hollywood, where we're kind of skewering it but still remembering it fondly, whereas now it's just bitter people who are like, oh, this town is the fucking worst.
And all the skewerings of this one, again, this came out this year. All the skewerings in this one would be dated in the early 90s, at least.
I also love off Brother Lucas's comment about why would there be a Crocodile Dundee impersonator on Hollywood Boulevard in that very first scene.
This is my first Salad Dragon, by the way.
There is a fifth grade class there that's on a field trip.
Yes.
And one of the 10-year-olds looks at him and says, Crocodile Dundee, as if a fucking 10-year-old in 2020 is going to know who that is or who Paul Hogan is.
A 30-year-old wouldn't know who Crocodile Dundee is. This class has encountered a snake, and they want somebody to help them like handle it, get it out of their way so they can be safe. And they recognize Crocodile Dundee, who's just kind of lurking around, or Paul Hogan, Hogs, as he is referred to in the film. And Hogs makes it clear to us and the class that he's not Crocodile Dundee, he's just Hogs. And he takes a stick and kind of golf swings at it. hitting the snake. The snake becomes digital at this point and flies right into the teacher's face, fangs first. Smash cut to the title. I was locked in at this point. I'm like, I don't know where we're going or what we're doing, but holy shit, that's how you start?
The movie set the bar high right away because I was like,
So
oh
fucking
shit,
high.
is this gonna be funny? Oh man, I'm gonna whoa. I was preemptively wrong about this. All right. Snake to the face.
So basically a bunch of Hollywood types are brainstorming ways to reboot Dundee. And there's a lot of humor about Crocodile Dundee III. They forget that Crocodile Dundee III even happened. Their big brainstorm idea basically is the plot of part 3. And Hogs very calmly is like, we already tried that though. It was called Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. And say what you will about Hogs' age or, you know, his washed upness, but I think the man is still charming as fuck. And I don't think I would have been able to watch one frame of this movie if he weren't so charming. Deafening silence.
If this were Pauly Shore and it was about Encino Man 2.
Well, there was actually a great Pauly Shore gag, I thought, or it was like a throwaway line, but he's watching one of the many Entertainment Tonight like shows, and they're going over the weekend box office, and they say something like, and coming in at number 1 was Pauly Shore and his sequel, Father-in-Law, which made me laugh, and I would actually want to see that movie, quite honestly.
And they're like,
Why not?
his atmospheric comeback is finally complete.
No,
Right,
Lodge Master. I had a tough watch because of the opposite Hogan effect. I was not taken by him in the first original film, and I was thinking like,
Right, you were pissed at him.
I was like, who is this asshole? Like, who is this like cisgendered male like asshole?
Now you know how those Colombian drug dealers felt.
All right, so we know where Lucas stands on all this, but I find him charming.
What about Lightning Jack?
Yeah, what about Lightning Jack, Lucas?
I've never seen it. But he's like Stanley Kubrick in that he only like made movies every 4 to 6 years, and like he wrote and developed Lightning Jack, and apparently he turned down Ghost to make Almost an Angel.
Well, that's one thing we can all agree on is that Hogs is exactly like Stanley Kubrick. We have a lot of ground to cover here, boys. There's an extended riff about how these Hollywood types want Will Smith to play his son in a reboot. And this kicks off a series of witty misunderstandings and misconceptions about what he says and what he actually means, because he's like, I don't think that'll be good because he's black. And then people are like, Hogs doesn't like Will Smith because he's black. So he keeps saying shit that gets him into trouble and keeps derailing his potential for a reboot.
Keep showing up on Entertainment Tonight.
Right. And they keep going to that well over and over and over again. But Reginald VelJohnson shows up, kicking off a ton of celebrity cameos. And he plays his buddy. Olivia Newton-John shows up for an extended cameo.
I love that there's a world in which RVJ and ONJ are friends and amicable with each other.
Yes.
They're like, oh, hey,
hang out.
how's it going? Oh, good to see you again. it made me feel really good, actually. Yeah.
Hashtag Dream Team. So ONJ sets up this long section where she invites him to come hang out at her charity and make an appearance, her charity event. And he ends up going. John motherfucking Cleese plays his driver. Like, what? He doesn't even know how he got there. He's lamenting how few roles there are for older actors as he sits in this shitty movie that he took because there are no good roles for older actors. I mean, it's meta on meta on meta. But he gets to the event, and this is Salad Dragon number 2, motherfuckers.
Whew.
Double Dragon.
This fucking event, it's supposed to be Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta doing some songs from Grease. And I'm like, ain't no way they got Johnny T for this. Ain't no way he's going to show up. Like, even he has more dignity at this point. But I held out hope. What did you guys think? Did you guys think Johnny T had any chance of showing up?
No.
No.
Olivia Newton-John's like, John Travolta isn't showing up. You're going to have to do the songs from Grease with me. So Hogs dons the leather jacket from Grease. He goes up there. He starts singing off key. The crowd is not having it. They are like, we want Johnny T. You're a fucking fake. You're a phony. What the fuck? Who is this? What's going on? And an angry John Travolta fan yells, I ought to come up there and kick the grease out of you. And listen very closely to the words I'm about to say. This angry fan throws a thermos at Hogs. Hogs is pissed. He considers throwing it back, but decides against it, and he kind of tosses it behind himself. The thermos bounces off a balloon and then flies back into the crowd where it hits an 82-year-old nun in the face, knocking her out. And I laughed my ass off at this, unapologetically. I did not expect that, especially because for a few beats, everybody's like, she's dead. She's dead. And I'm like, what? Where is this movie? Like, what is this movie? Who is this movie for? What is it doing? Who is it appealing to? And Olivia Newton-John's just watching from backstage, like confused as fuck, right along with everybody else who's watching the movie. Like, what an amazing scene that was.
It definitely had a Hollywood wax museum on acid vibe, you know, like the night of a thunderstorm. I'm alive.
Well, the entire thing, really, I mean, what you just described is essentially you have about 60 more minutes of that. There is nothing driving this goddamn movie. There's nothing driving it. And even more to that point, there's nothing motivating Hoag's character. Like, all he wants to do is just fucking hang out and watch Ellen. There's nothing driving him.
One of the notes that I made that I'm looking at now was, it feels like he makes these sequels for tax purposes. Like, because I know that like he was getting sued or he was going to go to prison, like Wesley Snipes, until he worked it out. Well, that's a movie,
Wesley and Paul in prison.
Because he had like hundreds of offshore, you know, shell corporations or whatever to avoid paying anybody anything. So he's like filthy rich. Like, it's crazy. But he resolved it. He resolved it all.
Thank God.
My theory is that his real life granddaughter got into some financial trouble. Maybe she was lost a lot of money betting, because the whole movie is about him trying to be a good granddad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, betting on kangaroo races.
Yeah. Kangaroo fights.
Yeah. Like, any of these movies would be great and would also fit in seamlessly to whatever the fuck this movie was somehow. Because anything goes.
And what this ended up being in a weird way is like Paul Hogan doing a Larry David impression.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about that too.
Kind of. He's not really an asshole, though. Everyone's just accusing him of being an asshole.
Yes.
And it only works because Larry David is a prick, unabashedly so.
Imagine like a didgeridoo version of the tuba theme from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, I've been bombarding you with the Peter Best score from the original end credits because it's like so uplifting.
Lucas
and
keeps
like
sending us didgeridoo music.
Yeah,
it's great.
I also just want to shit on the score really quick one more time because it was
so
aggressively whimsical.
Oh my God.
It was like, it just was relentless ABC Family, like little flourishes that were trying to make you feel something that you were not feeling. And it just
face fucks you with whimsy.
Right.
Oh, it was exhausting.
What I wrote was that it all
quote.
felt and sounded like a Hallmark Christmas movie. There's not maybe more than like 3 minutes that go by that doesn't have some kind of goddamn whimsical score to let you know that it's fun and you should have a good time. The production value, the lighting, it all felt fucking it's all for fun, really.
And it's missing Linda Karaszewski.
Who is that? Linda Kozlowski.
Sorry. Like, what kind of stage name is that? How do you not change it to like Linda Wagner or something?
We got to talk about this next part. Hoag's manager says that there's a high profile actor that has agreed to have lunch with him and give him advice. And it's none other than Chevy motherfucking Chase, the high profilest actor of them all, playing himself. Chevy and Hoag's get together and have a big old cameo scene. What the fuck was this? What the fuck is going on with this?
I don't know.
I love the 21-year-old waitress who is serving them and looks at Chevy and tells him, "Oh, Mr. Chase, you're the reason I got into comedy. Watching you on SNL made me
Oh
laugh."
my god.
Right.
I wonder if that was written as her knowing him from Community, and he was like, "No,
Yeah.
fuck that show.
Yes.
Right.
You know me from SNL."
Right. What was also great about that scene was that there's another lady that comes up to Chevy. She's a fan, and she says, "Oh, I loved you in The Three Amigos and European Vacation." Why European Vacation? Why wouldn't it just be the original Vacation?
She
no
picks
one loves
European.
No one loves European Vacation.
No, it's communist talk. Yeah, it's weird.
That also fits into Justin's theory that he got to choose which were his featured
Totally.
works
Totally.
that were being discussed. But basically, the whole scene hinges on Chase's insistence that he won an Oscar for Caddyshack and that he'll forever be adored by the public because he won an Oscar for Caddyshack. So that's basically the joke they keep riffing on. And he basically says to Hogan, you know, "I'll take care of the check when the lunch is over." He's like, "I'll take care of the check." And then he just dips out. And then Hogs tries to leave and is violently tackled by a security guard. And then the scene just cuts out. It just fucking ends. And you're just like, okay, mic drop. They thought that was the funniest shit in the universe.
Yeah, very confusing.
The movie also thinks the funniest shit in the universe is taking archival clips of celebrities out of context so that it seems like they're talking about Hogan and his Crocodile Dundee reboot. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted by that.
It's got Mel Gibson, that Mel Gibson thing.
Extended Mel Gibson run.
Lot of Mel.
I honestly wasn't sure if that was, spliced together, if that was genuine. I really didn't know.
No, it said archival footage in his credit on IMDb.
Oh.
So that was
Yeah.
They just took.
It was down.
I mean, I'm not
interview
surprised
and-
one bit.
Travolta shows up in an archive clip. And just to give you an idea of how they slice this up, the reporter says Travolta was asked about this and refuses to speak about Hogan. And then they cut to John Travolta on like some random red carpet saying, no, that's a very dangerous thing. Not he's a very dangerous subject. He says, no, that's a very dangerous thing. So this movie doesn't give a shit. They just want to get Johnny T on the screen.
What was really strange too is like I noticed that the edges of everyone was really soft, and I'm like, did they shoot people on green screen and just key it poorly? I'm like, oh no, this is footage that they had to rotoscope. That's why it's soft. This isn't poorly keyed. This is something else.
This movie doesn't play by any fucking rules.
The honor rules.
Then there seems to be like a madcap chase scene for the rest of the runtime.
Yeah.
And you just kind of tune out during that. I mean, it's supposed to be the funniest shit that you've ever seen, but it just all kind of becomes white noise after a while.
The old chase scene that takes place solely near an Isuzu dealership.
At one point, John Cleese is driving the car still, which leads me to believe they had him for multiple days, which, good that he got paid, but he hits somebody with a car and you hear a Wilhelm scream, and then there's a throwaway line. I think that was Harvey Weinstein.
I wrote that down because that stood the fuck out to me.
Why not?
I mean, why not?
Why not?
I mean, I'm sure there was some kind of archival footage they went to of Harvey Weinstein. I'm sure they tried to somehow splice that in
looking
too.
shocked.
Right.
Like looking shocked, and then they just zoom in.
It wouldn't be surprising.
And then there's what I could tell was intended to be like a showstopper, to just, be its big viral moment.
It's a salad dragon. Come on, it's a salad dragon.
It's a salad dragon. It's another dragon.
Is that number 3?
1, 2, 3.
I think it's 4.
The whole movie's a dragon.
These are salad crocs, guys. Come on. Stay on brand.
This is number 4. Bishki, do you want to explain what this is?
So Paul Hogan gets arrested and knocked out after the car chase. And then we just cut to all these dancers against a green screen. I mean, well, there's something in the background, but it's obviously just this horrific green screen.
And it should be noted that up until this point, they've almost reprised the "that's not a knife, this is a knife" joke, but they haven't quite said the whole thing yet.
So we get a musical number to the song "This Is a Knife," and and it goes on for quite, I would say probably like 3 or 4 minutes of, and they're just singing about that.
Which
that's
in this
not
world feels like 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, and they're just singing about that's not a knife, this is a knife, and you don't know what's going on. And then finally,
it's like a
Hogan,
fully choreographed musical number.
yeah. I think Hogan wakes up in a hospital bed. I don't remember what happened.
At this point, it gets fuzzy. I just wrote a lot of nonsense ensues.
I don't mean to sound like I was emotionally invested so that the scene made me upset, but it was one of those rare moments that felt like what I call movie hell, where we're living in somehow the worst possible version of something that we previously revered.
Yeah.
Oh, movie hell.
One of my favorite examples is Indiana Jones' wedding, where I'm just like, this is, I don't want to be here. I want to crawl out of my own body and go to a different reality where this never existed, where it's just, you can understand why someone wanted it to happen on paper. And then when you're actually seeing it brought to reality, you're like, this is an unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt B-roll throwaway joke.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be real.
We got to adopt movie hell onto this podcast because we've been there so many times and we will be there more times than we'll ever care to count.
Oh, yeah.
So this movie, it ends up, you know he's going to get knighted by the queen. We go to the ceremony, but Hogs isn't there. He's off seeing his granddaughter's musical play. But the last laugh that this got out of me was the announcer at the knighting ceremony says, the Queen of England's favorite movie is Crocodile Dundee III, which is just wacky enough to be true. Like if you told me that was true, I wouldn't dismiss it immediately.
Try to prove that it's not.
Yeah, you can't.
Just
You cannot
try.
prove that it's not.
That whole montage so desperately wanted to like tug on your heartstrings and work.
It did.
And it was so not deserving of that at all.
Did anyone else think it was a fake out?
It was shot like a fake out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so
Yeah, sure.
ridiculously over the top happy what was happening to every character in the movie. And I was like, this has got to be like a Wayne's World fake out. They're going to go to something and Paul's going to be on Entertainment Tonight again or something. I don't know. But
Well, no,
anyway.
the fake out was that you thought he was going to be at the premiere of the movie we're watching.
Right.
yeah,
which
yeah.
the-
or something else. Yeah.
That scene made the movie lose an entire bone for me because it went out of its way for someone to say like, oh, and he thought of this? He's a genius. I was like, in this movie, guys? You're going to call out your own brilliance in this movie, huh?
Paul Hogan also has a son in this that he kind of just keeps checking in on, and it's kind of like a demo reel for this actor. Like he's doing yoga, he's singing.
He has a nightclub in his bedroom.
Yeah, like the character doesn't go anywhere or do anything. He just kind of gets checked in on every once in a while.
And if there's one thing that I'm thankful for with regards to my Crocodile Dundee II standout cardboard cutout, it's that I am aware that he actually does have a son because his name is Brett Hogan, and it was in the credit block in that cardboard cutout. So where's Brett?
That you would study.
Right. that I would study and based on my...
Just stare at while you ate a bowl of cereal, just like memorizing.
Me, Paul Hogan, and Linda Wachowski.
You were just hoping against hope that you could be his son.
I still am. I still am. You can't prove I'm not.
This is unofficially a live rewrite because that would have been a better movie.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
The movie's called Crocodile Dundee, and it's a young boy with his Crocodile Dundee standee. That's his best friend.
Crocodile Dundee.
Option me. I'm open to it. Option me right now. I'm into it.
Oh my god.
You got my money. Take my money. I'll see that opening night.
Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles.
Yeah. There's some Last Action Hero, and like we can get actually Paul Hogan himself to like do mocap so he can like be like a younger
I think he's
Irishman.
available.
Yeah.
I think he's ready. All right, let's go to them crocodile bones. All right. We know Lucas is a fucking loaded didgeridoo right now, so let's skip around a little bit. Brother Anthony, you kick it off. You're the most emotionally invested in this.
I mean, when am I not? So before I give my bone count, we are counting this as canon, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Good to know, because that
we've decreed.
Okay,
That's all that matters.
Because that weighs heavily on these shoulders. I'm going with a walkabout woof.
Oh!
Straight up. My first woof, and I could not be happier or prouder. Speaking of happy, I don't know if you gentlemen recalled the song during the end credits, which was a complete ripoff of Pharrell's Happy. I wrote it down. It was called Feeling Good.
Man.
It was called Feeling Good as opposed to Happy.
Yes.
So this,
I think I Shazammed it because I'm like, there's no way that this is real.
And Shazam was like, "Fuck you, this is not real. What are you doing to me?" So I was the complete opposite of happy or feeling good. Ergo, my woof. But I'm happy to lay it upon this film.
Is it a harder woof than part 3, or are they equal woof?
Part 3, I did laugh out loud at. There was a Twister gag in part 3 with a flying cow that genuinely made me laugh, and I would gladly watch that again on loop over and over as opposed to watching the not very excellent Mr. Dundee.
Oh, ouch! So part 3 has a slight edge. Brother Bishke, what are you thinking about? Because I think maybe you had maybe a little more fun with this one. I'm just guessing here.
You might be correct, Lodge Master. It was definitely. I mean, Crocodile Dundee III was a damn wolf. So I was like, where can they go? Like, he's 80 years old. What are they going to do for Crocodile? It's scorched earth. There's nowhere to go but up. And this movie's bad on a whole nother level. Like, it is like just cringe. Oh my God. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we didn't even get to. Like Wayne Knight is
we didn't get to Wayne Knight. We didn't even touch Wayne Knight.
The Wayne
Knight's dub singing voice and Wayne Knight's tap dancing lessons.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. I don't think anyone our age can hear that song without just thinking of the little alien from Spaceballs.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Absolutely.
That's all that song is to me.
But yeah, this direction, I mean, the director should be shot, the writer shot, the composer definitely should be shot. The music was just...
Lucas is going to review this episode as toxically masculine later for those threats.
Yeah, he is.
But it was jaw-dropping. It was a jaw-dropping movie.
Yeah.
No intentional laughs, but I laughed a lot. And I wouldn't recommend it to anyone except the elite few who know who they are.
Yes.
This movie left me
elite.
in pain. I was in pain after. But I just kept thinking about it all night. And I was like, every time I thought about it, I just kept laughing. And
yeah, it sticks with you.
For the cringe, for the laughs, for the dragons, I got to give it one bone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Bishke. That's love and light. All right, Brother Justin, you laughed a little bit, right? Come on now.
I legitimately laughed more at this movie than I did Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Come on.
I, by de facto, cannot give it a woof. But
You can't.
it seemed like the title should have been Crocodile Dundee Can't Even, because he doesn't want to participate in his own movie, which was very bizarre.
That's so true. That's so true.
He hates it.
Yeah, and I could go on and on about bone deductions at each part.
Sure.
The budget
Sure.
Nick Swardson paparazzi guy just was so bad.
Oh, my God.
I wrote down budget Nick Swardson.
That was movie hell. That was definitely movie hell.
Every time that guy came on screen, it was the hardest cringe watching that guy.
He made an Eric Banana joke.
Oh, my God.
What? I missed that. How the fuck did I miss that? Because I would have loved that. You know what? Never mind. I'm
pretty good.
at half a bone now.
Here's the thing. I'm giving this the Roger Ebert Memorial Half Bone
Fair.
for a couple legitimate laughs. I genuinely liked seeing Reginald VelJohnson just
Yes.
palling around with Paul Hogan.
Yes.
I thought the snake to the face initial Salad Dragon did give me a genuine laugh. It was a cheap laugh, but it happened.
Yeah.
I didn't stop it. But I'm giving this a half bone because I feel I don't want to have that weird nerd rage where I sternly explain to people that they need to stop playing a character or stop doing something. Like,
Sure.
I just don't want to be that guy that's like, you should have hung it up 20 years ago. Bah.
Yeah.
That's not up to me. If you are having tax problems or your granddaughter lost a ton of money on the kangaroo fights and you need a quick payday, just do it.
Just do it.
These are the best of times and the worst of times.
And the worst of times.
900 movies come out every week. There's going to be the worst, and there's going to be things that are hidden gems. So, who am I to tell Paul Hogan what not to do? Half bone.
Half bone. Love it. Lucas, you look like a deflated balloon. What do you got? Pump yourself up and let us know what's what here.
Yeah, I would definitely tell Paul Hogan to just relax, and you did well, and you're part of the pop culture lexicon of the 1980s. It's more than I can say for anything that I'll ever do. So yeah, he met the Queen of
Don't
England,
be so
right?
sure.
He met Lady Di when she was alive.
Good.
But what's funny is the first film ends. I don't think anyone remembers this, but the first film ends with Paul Hogan's character literally walking on top of New Yorkers,
I remember.
on their shoulders and heads, just stepping on them, literally stepping on them. And
I remember that being aspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, this is some Dead Poet Society shit that you're aping. That's just awful.
No, that's what true love is. You didn't get the message. I would walk on so many New Yorkers.
Construction workers, hot dog vendors.
True love is literally walking all over New Yorkers.
And suffering through a very excellent Mr. Dundee, which seems like he owes money to the Bill and Ted folk for taking that title. It was tough. It was definitely a chore for me, and I wasn't really at all laughing, with the exception of the Hollywood Boulevard impersonator, because it's what planet are you on, or have you been on? And this reeks to me of a tax haven. I got to make the movie to somehow stay out of jail. So yeah, I couldn't really get into it, so I had to give it a woof. I have to definitely give it a woof. And I'm amazed. The one thing I'm most amazed by is in the last 40 years, Paul Hogan has not aged. He has no body fat. He's probably weighed 150 his entire life.
He looks great.
Some of his hair is thinned or gone, but he still looked almost exactly the same. No worse for wear, which was kind of staggering.
That's a woof. We got double woof. We got a Roger Ebert Memorial half bone. We got a full bone. If you've been listening to my excitement level at all during this episode, you'll know I ain't woofing this shit. No way. I ain't even half boning this shit. This is a full, vibrant bone for me. I can't stop thinking about this. Every time I think about it, I smile. I see that snake flying towards my face. I see that thermos hitting that nun with Olivia Newton-John voyeuristically watching it. Come on. That's headed straight for my heart. So, there's a lot of problems. It's not what I would call a good film, but anyone who remembers Crocodile Dundee and brings it up to me in conversation, or doesn't bring it up in anybody who brings up Australia in a conversation, I'm going to be talking about this movie so fast it'll make your head spin, because nobody knows about this. Everybody I told that we were doing an episode on this, they're like, "Wait, what? Part 4?"
I think it came out in Prime, but only in Australia, I think.
I mean, it's a full bone for me. I think about it very fondly. I'm very charmed by Hogs. And I am so glad that we ventured into this together. I'm glad that we reassessed Crocodile Dundee and had a wide swath of experiences from that. It makes me want to run the series again just to see what the hell everybody's talking about.
The only thing that's worth it is the end credits song. That's all. It's the only
Evidently.
silver lining.
Everybody YouTube Lucas's favorite end credit song of all time, Crocodile Dundee, Didgeridoo-O-Rama. And I look forward to part 5. I hope they can squeeze out a part 5 somehow.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it, guys. Let's get John Travolta on board in the flesh, and let's make it happen.
Let's bring back Linda Kowalski.
Linda Wachowski, whoever it is.
You're getting closer.
You almost had it that time, Lucas. You almost
By
had
part
it.
5, he may get it.
Yes.
Sorry.
All right, boys. We're in a heat wave. We all have our AC off and our fans off, so let's land this ship. Thank you guys for being on this. Thank you guys for suffering the slings and arrows of multiple Dundees. And holy shit, next time there's an ill-advised deep sequel, I think this is our crack team. So
Oh, the old deep pools.
I'm in.
Movie hell.
Movie hell.
Hashtag movie hell. Love and light to you all.
Love and light,
Love and
fam.
light.
Love and light.
You got a light, buddy?
Yeah, sure, kid. There you go.
And your wallet.
Mickey, give him your wallet.
What for?
He's got a knife.
You wave that shiny little thing in my face, but kid, your piece of cutlery's a bloody disgrace. You look at me as if I should now run for my life, but that's not a knife. You think your little toy is gonna fill me with dread, but you should take it home and file your toenails instead. You're embarrassing yourself in front of my future wife, 'cause that's not a knife. You should turn away from your life of crime, do something more worthwhile with your time. Buddy, why you looking so deflated? Maybe 'cause your implement is not so rated. I can see you're not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I wouldn't use that little thing to butter my bread. Kid, if I were you, I'd bloody run for my life, 'cause that's not a knife. No, that's not a knife. No, that's not a knife. That's a knife.
Remarkable sharpness and purity.
I should be feeling fear and loathing. Scariest thing about you is your choice of clothing. Buddy, here's a little piece of friendly advice. Threatening people on the street is not very nice. So go sit somewhere quietly and keep out of strife, and you won't need a knife.